Yo, what's going on, guys? Koi here. Today we're going to be talking about a damage dealer tier list. I just did my tank tier list, which should be hitting already the platform. So if you guys want to see the defender tier list and then the supporter tier list, of course those are going to be dropping near the same time as this one. Maybe I could hopefully get the supporter one out soon, but for sure. Don't forget to, subscribe, enjoy the content and stuff like that. I just want to help people out, and people want to know. They want to know, what should I be focusing on? Which characters are useful? So let's get into it. So first things first, I do want to talk about some characters over other characters, especially because I have like all of them on the same list. So we're talking about every single character that is just built to do damage. And I'm going to do a speed run of just some of them ones that just suck, or they just have a terrible skill that just doesn't make them useful. Even in the early game, even in the late game, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. First one, Sasuke, not very good. We're going down the line. Gon, not very good. No, Uryu, terrible. Zoro, terrible. Luffy, terrible. Naruto, terrible. This guy, I don't even know who that is, terrible. Let's see. We have, who else do we have here? We have some characters that are just not very useful entirely. Nanami, check. This dude, not very useful. And we're talking about their skills too. We're just not talking about them in general. We're talking about skills. We're talking about damage. We're talking about stats. A lot of these characters have decent stats, but have terrible skills that just don't make them very useful. Or their skills only proc like for one hit, and they just don't do a lot of damage at all. And I would just not recommend any of these characters at all for you to even build, put on your team, or anything like that. Hang on. Who else do we have here? We have, I think, no, go, okay, yeah, Nami, Naruto, let's see, Noelle. She doesn't have anything useful at all. The only reason I'm speedrunning this part of the video is because this part obviously just has to do with the characters that I don't want people to focus in on. All right, so yeah, right there. I think that's where we kind of stop. And this is just where we want to stop with just don't touch any of these characters. I don't want the video to be really, really long, but these characters just don't bring anything unique or good to the table to make them useful. Or even not even near early game useful. So let's go ahead and talk about just damage dealers in general. There's going to be a lot that we talk about in this tier list for sure. Let's see if I can expand this. There we go. Yeah, this should help just a little bit for sure. Let's go ahead and move that up just a little bit. There we go. Now it's a little more open. You guys can see a little bit more. Let's go ahead and talk about some good ones. Now, some ones that are very, very useful, I would say good early game to good late game. Mash, very, very solid unit for the early game. Honestly has some survivability to him, but also does a lot of damage with his punch. He got nerfed a little bit after release, but honestly, he's still a very solid unit, and you could probably take him pretty far. I would even consider him useful in some regard. Saber, very, very useful, even pre-Evo. She doesn't have an Evo yet, but she has damage. She could go through. 15% of her attack is still going to get through to every single boss that she fights, which is very useful. We have Frieza here, who's just very, very great at just clearing waves, clearing early game waves, getting it done. We got Redward, who's also got a very useful skill. He does clear very well. Let's see. We got... Mihawk, I would actually say he's still great damage. He's one of the only characters in the entire game that scales incredibly well with this skill. Short cooldown, a really hard-hitting skill, amazing. Even at barely no Evo level 100, you could put a good trade on this guy and he's going to do a lot of work for you. I've seen a lot of people use this guy, and I've used him myself to clear through most of the early game. If you don't want to spend too much gems, he's very, very useful. Oh yeah, Kakashi's dog water. I hate this guy. He's actually bad. Let's see. Now, I do have some characters that are considered not the best. Only because some of their abilities are just not very good, but they're still better than nothing. You know what I mean? Vegeta, for example, he's very, very good. Piccolo's more early game, very short cooldown, amazing skill. This Vegeta, I wouldn't say he's the best either. He just has a really, really bad skill that only procs like twice, 3 times, I think. Same thing with this Goku. I don't like his skill at all, but still better than nothing. And especially in this meta where you could put him next to a tank, he's still going to do something. Rukia, very, very good, useful character, I would say. But like bottom tier useful until you get her Evo. She still needs definitely a upgrade for sure. This dude, one of the newer characters, but he's early game, doesn't really do too much, but he's definitely better than Uryu. Uryu's dog water, so bad. Worst skill in the game. Like, come on, he's like a common. That's the way he's been set up. The Fire Girl, I think Megumi or something like that, she's cool. She's cool, but her skill doesn't, it leaves a lot to desire. You know what I mean? Her skill doesn't do much. She doesn't really have a unique ability. She just does damage, but there's a lot of characters that do damage and have more useful passives and stuff in the game than her. So that's why I would actually just keep her in the early game until maybe she gets an Evo later, where she gets a lot stronger. But we'll have to see with the Konosuba update. Let's see. We got... I want to keep the legendaries for last. Kenpachi. Love this guy. Very, very useful. He has iframes, actually, whenever he attacks. I would even put him probably like right here. He has iframes whenever he attacks, which is literally just free damage negation. So he also does quite a bit of damage. He's also a very, very fast attacker, which is really, really good. Byakuya, I would say he's very useful too. My only problem is this version of Byakuya is very slow. He does have like the ability to proc multiple bleeds though, which makes him kind of useful. Frieren, I've heard she's like really good in the DPS category, but I personally don't see it. Like, I see her definitely doing damage for sure. Like, she does a lot of damage. But I wouldn't say she's Mihawk level of damage. You know what I mean? Yor, I heard Yor is very useful. A very good character to work with. Honestly, good damage for early game. I would put her behind these guys, though. She's good, though. She's very, very good. Killua, honestly, very interesting. But if you're already going to run, like, Rukia, Byakuya, any of these guys, you don't really need Killua. He's got a cool skill. He does good damage, but he's like kind of early game-ish. And then after that, he falls off like really hard compared to a lot of these guys. Gohan, not the best, but has a really good skill. We have, yeah, let's keep the exclusives and the legendaries for last. So let's say Luffy. I would say he's like good early game fighter. He's not bad. I would say that he's like not particularly crazy, but his skill's okay, and you're going to want to invest in him if you want that Evo. Trigun, great damage dealer right there. If you guys don't know, I already did my whole showcase on Trigun. You give this dude like the best like ranger set that you can make, and he's just going to do damage. He's going to do an amazing job. He's just going to clear a lot of content in the game. He's very, very strong, and I want to see more from him for sure. From a lot of characters in general. For like a character that just came out of the tracks, I would even say he does a lot more than Mihawk, but he's single target, which makes him like, no, Angel Cannon makes up for that. Angel Cannon actually makes up for that. He's actually insane. Delta, kind of early game. She was a cool one. Her and Alpha, both early game units. They fall off incredibly hard though, which kind of sucks. That's just a problem with some of these characters that released during release. They don't particularly do well-ish. We have Sid. Sid kind of fell from grace. He kind of doesn't really perform as crazy as a lot of the newer characters do. Actually, I would lie. I would actually replace Sid. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. So, like, Mihawk would be, like, top of useful. Sid would be, like, top of great damage. Like, the apex of useful characters would be Sid. He's a great damage dealer. I Am Atomic is an amazing skill. You get iframes from it. Great character. Okay, so here we go where we're going to have some problems here. One, Alucard is just not very great. His skill is relatively weak. A lot of these characters do a lot more than Alucard does. And he's particularly, like, got a very weak passive, too. Like, a 5% chance to heal 15% of the enemies' HP. Like, what the crap is that? This is not going to help you in raids. He doesn't, like, do crazy damage with his ultimate either. He's just a very weak character. And people get upset about that because they clickbaited a lot of people into getting him 6-star. But he's too expensive, too. Dirt expensive, like way too expensive, because you have to like hit the premium banner every single day for like a week in order to get this dude 6-star, unless you ran into the glitch where you got him day 1 6-star. There was a bug where you were able to get him 6-star day 1, but that was like only a select few people, and even at that, they don't even use him. They put anyone else on the team over this guy. So yeah, let's start talking about some like other exclusives. Freaking man, the fall from grace from Kirito. This dude got nerfed to the freaking ground, making him not even useful to a lot of people. I would even like, I'm probably going to move this list around just a little bit, because there's some characters here that just are good, but they could be a lot better. We're just going to start with Rukia and stuff like that. We'll do it like this, so it makes a lot more sense to some people. Yeah, I think Mash is like the top of early game to useful, unless you get like a crazy trait like explosive on him, then he could actually jump to useful. I think this is like really, really good where this is. Now people are going to be mad about Redward, but I'm sorry, I just don't see him doing more than a lot of these guys. Asuna, amazing character, very, very good damage dealer. Her ability allows her to shred the defense of a tank. I mean, defense of the boss, making her like necessary on raid and necessary in a lot of content, especially tower. She's so useful, and she's the free character, and she does a lot more damage than Kirito now, which is kind of sad, but it's the way it is. Violent Grass. Violet Grass, he fell from grace as well because he had like a very terrible kit off release. Like, it was in words, like on paper, it looked great, you know, stacking damage, release it all at once, but it's nothing compared to like a lot of the characters in the game who just do that but better. So they did buff him a little bit, but they'd have to rework him for him to be like very, very good. Like, he's still not Mihawk good, he's still not Frieza good. I would even argue that Firin is probably better than him, but yet again, like, I think that's up to opinion more than anything, but they're all in the same tier, so that's like where I would consider them. Sasuke and Naruto, they need some freaking work, man. Sasuke and Naruto, both characters from the Naruto section, they just don't do good, man. Even as legendaries, they just don't perform as good as every other character in the game. So they'll do damage, they have good stats, they just don't perform. Their skills are mediocre. Unlike some of the characters here that did get major buffs. Like, for instance, Vegeta definitely got a major buff. He's very useful now. Is he up there with like the great damage dealers? Sadly, no. I mean, Super Saiyan 2 Majin Vegeta, he's very, very good. Like, he's a good legendary. You could put him on a team and he will perform with the right metal set. But he does not like do crazy damage like everyone else at the very, very top. Speaking of characters that do that type of damage, oh, that Zoro buff. Mwah! Like, absolute great buff. Amazing legendary. Solid unit. Zoro got a lot of love this last few patches, and they made him hit everything. He's got a great like move, and he does a lot of damage. So you could really set him up and get him working with the right equipment. Just worry about his defense just a little bit, and he should be good. Let's see. We're gonna go ahead and just run through another character that deserves a buff. Now, okay, don't get me wrong. Bo, great unit. Just don't let him use his domain. If you let him use his domain, you're gonna have a problem because his domain skill sucks. His base skill works very well. So he'll do a lot of damage with Gay Bull, but he won't do a lot with his domain. Domain needs a rework. He does like some type of like consistency damage, which only works in a very specific way. But, you know, it only works if the enemy's got like shields or something like that. If they don't have a shield, then he's just doing damage over time, which is weaker than some characters that already do that, but a lot better. Speaking of that type of character, is definitely going to be 1000-Year Blood War Byakuya. Very, very useful unit. The bleed on this guy is amazing. The skill set that he has, the damage he can do, Very, very solid unit. Just amazing overall. Best bleed in the game. We got Kenpachi, 1000-year Blood War Kenpachi, super solid, amazing stats, iframes still, and honestly can really just start hankering down and doing a lot of damage very quickly, which makes him very, very useful. 1000-year Blood War Rukia leaves a lot to desire. She honestly does need a small buff to just get her up there, at least damage-wise. She's super good. She does a lot of, she does a lot of damage. She just doesn't do as much as these other 2000-year Blood War characters because she has the freeze ability. The freeze ability that is very useful, but yeah, it's just lackluster in that regard. She needs a little love. Frieza, great unit. If you don't have full power Frieza, the raid unit himself, he's solid. He's still very great. He does wave clear like a beast. He's a beast at wave clear. Wave clear is his job. Tower mode, he'll just start chopping through them. He even got a buff recently that makes him very, very useful. They gave him 5 ticks except for 4. So now he does 5 ticks and even more damage, which is very, very good. His Supernova isn't too crazy. He can't spam it, but, you know, he has a nice buff. Goku. Oh my god, that Goku buff was absolutely amazing. They buffed the heck out of this guy. He got an extra 20% more damage, and he spams Dragon Fist like a crazy person. This dude can do work. Honestly, one of the better damage dealers in the game. I would even put Sid down here because of how good these characters perform. If we're talking about like Trigun, let's say like the way I would do this is I would set it up like this, Asuna, then Trigun, then Frieza, then the rest of these guys. But the king of the game right now is going to be Broly. Absolutely insane unit. Solid overall. When you get him to that legendary Super Saiyan state, he nukes. He's the new like nuke of the game. But, you know, in short content, long content, he performs in every bit of hardcore content in the game, and he's necessary for everyone in the game. So if you guys have not gotten your Broly to like 5-star, evolved him, stuff like that, then I would focus on doing that as soon as possible, because Broly as a nuke will perform overall over anybody in the game right now. Like once you get that legendary Super Saiyan, he just starts popping off with that mouth beam. It is insane. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Take it easy. Peace out.